I wish Toronto women would take you to the bodega. Like, we don't even have bodegas. We got, like, Hasty Market, corner stores and shit, you know? Need to get me a BIA. For most of her young life, BIA has been traveling along in a lane of her own making. Now this Massachusetts born and bred rapper is proving to be a force to be reckoned with as she shoots up to the top of the hip-hop charts thanks to collaborations with some big-time stars like Russ and Nicki Minaj. But make no mistake, BIA has been active in the industry for a number of years now. It's just taken a little bit for her cream to rise to the top. After discovering some of her self-released tracks over on YouTube, rapper Pharrell would introduce her to Pharrell, who would then sign BIA to his label in the mid-2010s. But it wouldn't be until she broke free from under the hitmaker's wing that she began to find some real traction. Think you know which music icon's cosign would turn her career around? If so, fill us in the comment section down below. Everybody else, keep watching this episode of Before They Were Famous to find out. BIA was born Bianca Landro on August 16, 1991 in the city of Medford, Massachusetts to a Puerto Rican father and an Italian mother. Her ethnicity would come to have a lasting impact on her, and she found it extremely difficult to fit in with the other kids who weren't anything like her, especially considering the fact that she was often traveling back and forth between her father and mother's homes in two different areas of Massachusetts. Speaking about this with Dazed in 2017, she told them, "I've always wondered whether other mixed kids in other countries go through this exact same thing. It feels like it's a mixed kid thing that we all go through. Having that sense of trying to find ourselves because there's not really just one place that you grew up." And I gotta say, BIA, yes, it is definitely a mixed kid thing. You know, I may know a thing or two about that. Couple that with the fact that she was spending her childhood only a few miles away from the city of Boston, not exactly a region that's recognized for its diverse populace or thriving hip-hop market, and for most of her childhood, BIA definitely felt like an underdog. As for school, well, it never really meant all that much to her. She attended and eventually graduated from Medford High School before briefly enrolling in college, only to then drop out. At that point, BIA began working multiple part-time gigs to earn a living, including as a bartender and at her local mall. But the only thing that BIA really wanted to do was make music.
And I found like something in making music that just made me really happy. It just became my passion.
Having spent so much of her life looking for a place to fit in, BIA finally found a crowd that she felt at home with at the age of 14. That's when she first started hanging out with a bunch of battle rappers at a local studio. She wasn't doing much rapping herself back then, but she'd push the record button for others and spent her free time writing bars that she wouldn't show to anybody else for another 4 years. Eventually, she came to understand that what drove her more than anything else was her passion for music. Originally influenced by personal favorites like Rihanna, Aaliyah, and Selena, BIA then worked tirelessly on incorporating the more aggressive flows of somebody like Nicki Minaj to create her own unique sound. After discovering her voice, she then spent nearly every penny she earned to ensure that all of her hard work wouldn't go to waste by self-funding her earliest studio sessions. The only problem though, when she would tell people her dream, whether it be friends from school or work, nobody seemed to really believe in her. She told Spin, "When I first said I'm gonna rap, there was a lot of, yeah right, my cousin raps better than you. My brother rap better than you, and when you don't have support, it just naturally turns you into a monster, into a beast." Well, it may have taken a little bit of time, but eventually the beast inside of BIA would wake up, big time. BIA started her musical career with a slow but steady climb upwards. She kicked things off with the release of her single, High, from her 2012 mixtape Chola Season. After self-funding a bare-bones music video to go along with it, the song wound up in front of rapper Pharrell, who immediately fell in love with BIA's unique sound and offered his services to her as a manager. With Fam's help, BIA was introduced to musical icon Pharrell Williams, who offered her a do-or-die opportunity.
It took me about a year and a half before I actually got a deal.
Really?
I just learned from them. Like they just took me under the wing and they were just trying to help me. So it was kind of like, I want to say like artist development without that stamp.
After a bit of training, Pharrell threw on a song and told BIA to write a 16-bar verse to the beat. If it turned out well, he was willing to sign her on the spot. If not, she'd have to hit the road. It took BIA about 20 minutes, and after she performed her track for the man in the giant hat, she was the newest member of his I Am Other roster. But before BIA could really leave her mark on the music industry, she'd almost lose her life in a nearly fatal motorcycle accident, one that would require months of rehabilitation. She gave Oxygen some details about the very scary moment, telling them, "It was like 10-20 of us on bikes. I was a passenger and a drunk driver just whipped a U-turn. I fell 20-30 feet in the air and fell on the floor. I looked down and my leg was slit open. I didn't know if I was gonna keep my leg or not. It was bad. Jeez, it really does sound like it. And while she was recuperating, BIA would appear on the Oxygen television series known as Sisterhood of Hip Hop. And as you might imagine, this reality series tracked 5 female rappers, one of whom was BIA, as they attempted to make it in the male-dominated industry.
Personally, to each his own. Like, everyone has their own thing that works for them. That works for her.
After 2 seasons on that series, BIA had her fill of reality television, and it was time for her to make an impact on the actual industry. She'd do so by being featured on the hit J Balvin single, Safari, in 2016. Now that she had some eyes on her talent, BIA was selected by Pusha T to perform as his opening act for his Darkest Before the Dawn tour, and the following year she would join Ariana Grande for her European tour, the very same one that tragically ended with the Manchester Arena bombing in May of 2017. When BIA returned home to the States, she'd make the move from east to west, settling into Los Angeles, and afterwards she got to work on her first EP, Nice Girls Finish Last, which dropped in 2018. Unfortunately, soon after that, issues would crop up with her label and she'd leave Pharrell and RCA behind in 2019, stating that at the time she'd hit a ceiling and that the best decision was for her to split simply based on the desire to push herself further. Well, that's exactly what she'd wind up doing next. Throughout 2019, BIA would get back to her basics, dropping some self-released tracks like 1 Minute Warning and being featured on the Russ single, Best on Earth. That track in particular would prove to be a huge boom to her career, as shortly after its release, the song would go viral thanks to a shout out from one of BIA's original heroes, Rihanna. After Rihanna referred to Best on Earth as her new favorite song, BIA's career was back on track. In fact, she'd tell Hip Hop DX, "That was one of the best days for me of my career, because Rihanna, she is one of my favorite people in the world. And to have a cosign like that from a peer, it already means a lot." This would set the stage for a crucial 2020 in which BIA was signed to Epic Records, and then she dropped her newest EP, For Certain, which came armed with her hit single, Whole Lotta Money. With that track's help, the EP would reach the top 10 of Billboard's Heatseekers album chart, and it would also earn her a nomination for Best Breakthrough Song at the 2021 MTV VMAs. With accolades like that, a remix was all but inevitable, and it arrived boasting a Nicki Minaj feature. So after a healthy dosage of success over the past 2 years, what's next for BIA? Well, a whole lot of moves apparently. Aside from recording her debut studio album, this talented young woman is also working on her entrepreneurial skills as she's lining up a series of side businesses. One of which is a makeup line named Beauty for Certain. The absolute branding skills there. You love to see it. In other words, BIA is looking to go full mogul just like her idol Rihanna, and hey, considering everything else that she's managed to accomplish over the course of her career, there really isn't any reason to doubt her now. Alright guys, that'll bring this latest edition of Before They Were Famous to a close. Please be sure to let us know your thoughts on BIA's come up in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well as you ring that notification bell before you leave. My name is Clyde Smith, and I'll see you guys in another video. We don't even have bodegas in Toronto, bro. We got Hasty Market and corner stores and shit. Need me a BIA. Take me to the bodega.